Did you know that hiring an unverified CPA could literally force your business to redo its entire financial audit from scratch? Yeah, it's a nightmare scenario. Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're tackling something that might sound, purely administrative at first glance, but it's actually an absolutely crucial compliance and risk management step. We're talking about how to verify a certified public accountant, or CPA license, in the state of Wisconsin. So, whether you're bringing on a new finance director, hiring an independent auditor, or honestly just looking for someone to handle your personal taxes, knowing exactly how to confirm these credentials is a total game changer. So, what actually happens when your CPA isn't actually a CPA? Or maybe they were, but their license just kind of lapsed? It's a scary thought, right? But it's one we absolutely have to consider. Under Wisconsin law, public accounting is a heavily regulated profession. Practicing with an expired, suspended, or worst case, falsified credential, that is definitely not just a minor oversight. It exposes both the accountant and the company hiring them to severe legal liabilities, permit denials, and some seriously steep statutory penalties. You definitely do not want to be caught on the wrong side of that. To really put this into perspective, let's look at a real-world scenario. This quote from the legal firm Lathrop GPM highlights exactly what can go down during franchise examinations. They point out that state examiners are actively digging into the licensing status of CPAs doing audits. And if regulators find that an audit was done by someone without a current certification, bam, deficiency letters. The fallout from these state actions has actually included forcing companies to go out, pay for brand new audited financial statements from a properly certified CPA, and then make rescission offers to franchisees who got the compromised documents. I mean, that is a massive, incredibly expensive liability. Because let's be real, nobody wants to pay for an audit twice just because they forgot to check a database. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First up, understanding Wisconsin CPA licenses. Then, we'll look at the high stakes of verification, followed by a step-by-step verification process. After that, we'll cover troubleshooting common verification issues, some additional verification resources, and wrap up with some final thoughts and a quick disclaimer. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Understanding Wisconsin CPA Licenses and the Rigorous Path to Certification. To really appreciate why verifying this credential matters so much, we have to look at what it actually takes to earn that CPA title in Wisconsin. It is highly regulated by the Wisconsin Accounting Examining Board, who works closely with the Department of Safety and Professional Services, or DSPS. Getting this title takes serious grit and dedication. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down the intense statutory prerequisites required just to hold this license. Look at this. A candidate needs a whopping 150 semester hours of education, packed with deep accounting and business coursework. On top of that, they have to score a 75 or higher on all 4 sections of the incredibly tough Uniform CPA exam, all within a 30-month window. Then there's an open book ethics exam on Wisconsin statutes. They've got to score at least an 80% there. And finally, they need 1 to 2 years of full-time, hands-on public accounting experience. When you see all that effort laid out like a giant puzzle, it becomes super clear why an unverified credential is a massive red flag. You're paying for a premium, highly vetted professional standard here. Which brings us right into Section 2, the high stakes of verification, and exactly why unverified credentials are a massive liability. So we just saw how tough this credential is to get, right? Now let's talk about what happens when you fail to check if those hard-earned credentials are actually active and valid today. Let's contrast the 2 main statuses you'll likely run into. On one side, we have active. This means the professional is in good standing and, most importantly, holds the explicit legal authority to perform public accounting, attest, or audit functions. On the flip side, we have expired or suspended. Now, you might be thinking an expired license is just a minor clerical error, right? Actually, scratch that. It's way more serious. Under Wisconsin Administrative Code, practicing with an expired license triggers immediate disciplinary action. Even worse, any contracts executed while that license is lapsed could be legally compromised. If you hire someone with a suspended license, maybe due to ethical violations or skipping their continuing education, you are literally absorbing that massive risk straight into your own business. Let's move to and see how this builds as we jump into Section 3, step-by-step verification process using state and national databases. This is where we get into the highly practical, step-by-step walkthrough of how to actually protect yourself. Okay, it all starts right here with the Wisconsin Department of Safety and Professional Services, or as it's commonly known, the DSPS. This department is your absolute authoritative primary source for verifying active credentials for both individuals and firms in Wisconsin. If you're doing a standard routine compliance check like an annual employee review or some client due diligence, this is exactly where you or your team need to start. The process itself is really straightforward once you know where to go. Step 1, you're going to navigate to the Legacy Public License Lookup portal at licensesearch.wids.gov. Step 2, just plug in the professional's first and last name or their specific license number. And step 3, once those results pop up, you want to zero in on their eligible to practice status. You're looking for a clear confirmation that their license is 100% current and active. And this brilliantly illustrates a really unique quirk of the Wisconsin database that you have to know to run an accurate search. The DSPS system uses a hyphenated suffix code to identify specific profession types. Individual certified public accountants fall under Code 1. Registered accounting firms, on the other hand, are Code 3. So if you're searching by a numeric license, remember to tack on a -1 for individuals and a -3 for firms. If you forget these suffixes, you might accidentally cross-match your certs with a completely different licensed profession in the state, and, well, that'll just totally derail your audit. But wait, checking the state database is only half the battle. If you're a compliance officer managing regional offices, or maybe you're hiring an out-of-state firm, you absolutely must use cpaverify.org. This is a totally free national database hosted by NASBA. That's the National Association of State Boards of Accountancy. Wisconsin and 52 other jurisdictions feed their official data right into it. Because Wisconsin allows something called CPA mobility, which basically means out-of-state CPAs can sometimes practice there without a local license, CPA Verify is your essential secondary check. It tracks a professional's history across state lines and will flag any multi-state disciplinary actions that just wouldn't show up on a single state's portal. Moving right along to Section 4, troubleshooting common verification issues, focusing on navigating pending applications and renewals. Look, this process is generally smooth, but it isn't always perfectly seamless, so let's talk about what to do when you hit a bump in the road. Here are some highly practical solutions for those annoying edge cases. First off, if someone applied for a Wisconsin CPA license but hasn't been approved quite yet, they won't even show up in that public registry. Instead, you'll need to use the state's licensee status lookup tool, and you'll have to ask the applicant for their unique 10-digit pair number to do it. Second, if you do find them and the status says pending applicant input, that usually just means they're missing some paperwork, like college transcripts or experience records. And finally, remember that Wisconsin CPAs have to renew their credentials every 2 years by December 14th of odd-numbered years. If an accountant is trying to renew manually and spaced on their PIN, they can easily grab it using the PIN lookup service by entering their license number, birth date, and the last 4 digits of their Social Security number, or FIN for firms. Which takes us to Section 5, additional verification resources, and exactly who to contact for help. Because, let's be honest, sometimes you run the state search, you check the national database, you try troubleshooting with the PAR numbers, and you still just hit a dead end. You need official support. This slide is the perfect screenshot opportunity. If you're a compliance officer, a hiring manager, or honestly just someone who needs direct lines to official support, these contacts are pure gold. If you need to chat with someone about a Wisconsin-specific credential, you can call the Wisconsin DSPS Engineering and Accounting section directly at 608-266-2112, or just shoot them an email at dsps@wisconsin.gov. But if you're dealing with a multi-state lookup issue on the national side of things, you're going to want NASBA's CPA Verify support team. You can reach them at 855-837-4392, or at cpaverify@nasba.org. Definitely keep these in your back pocket. They are incredibly helpful for those tricky credentialing scenarios. All right, we're in the home stretch with Section 6, final thoughts and disclaimer. It all boils down to this one simple rule. Audit your financial professionals before they audit your finances. Taking just a few minutes to navigate these databases can literally save you from a world of legal headaches and compromised business agreements. Before we wrap things up completely, I do need to share a quick professional disclaimer. Regulatory processes, administrative rules, and these database portals can and absolutely do change over time. The information we've walked through today is based on current state-provided guidelines, so always make sure to verify with the most recent information directly from the Wisconsin DSPS or just consult qualified legal counsel for professional compliance advice. So the crucial point is this. Are you absolutely certain who is handling your finances? Because after today, you've got all the tools, the exact website portals, and even those specialized suffix codes you need to find out for sure. Don't just assume a credential is valid because it looks fancy on a business card. Get onto licensesearch.wis.gov, double-check CPA Verify, and protect yourself and your business. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy verifying!